Hey there viewers, it's Charlie. I'm back again with another Transformers review, and today's review is going to be on Studio Series 86 Ironhide. Now, compared to the last G1 Ironhide release, that being an Earthrise, I think this is a much better improvement. Why do I think that? Well, we'll see when I take a look at the figure. But of course, first of all, let's take a look at the actual packaging. So of course, just got a picture of Ironhide shooting something, probably some Decepticons. Got the windowless style of packaging here. This side we've got a close-up of Ironhide's face. The other side we've got a full-on shot of Ironhide. No pun intended when I say shot. The back we've got Ironhide in both modes. Decepticon shuttle ambush. And here it says that he really fights off the Decepticon ambush on the Autobot shuttle. And if you've seen the G1 movie, well, you know how that went. Such heroic nonsense. But he even comes with a backdrop based on said scene. So if you want to reenact his death scene, then, well, go ahead. And while taking a look at the backdrop, well, of course, we get the faux backdrop, which is tied to. And for the actual backdrop, of course, as I stated, it's based on the scene where a few of the Autobots are pretty much just massacred. Like, Brawn's shoulder is just destroyed, killing him. Prowl's insides are melted, killing him. Ratchet is just shot to death, and Ironhide's head is just blown off. So yeah. So yeah, we'll come back to this in robot mode. But taking a look at the vehicle mode, of course, Ironhide transforms into his van mode. Although, right off the bat, we can see it's actually missing the yellow stripe. I'm not sure if it was like budget reasons or whatever, but that was a major gripe when this figure was first shown. People were complaining that it's missing the yellow stripe, and yeah, I can see why people do complain, but I mean, you could always just like paint the stripe on if you have like yellow paint. I don't know. For me, I'm gonna keep this guy displayed in robot mode anyway, so yeah, I don't really mind, because, as I said, I'm just gonna keep this guy displayed in robot mode. Now, this guy sort of has a color matching issue. It's not really that visible here, but you can sort of see like the shades of red aren't really the same, but it's not really that noticeable in person for me. But it's possibly more noticeable on camera because, of course, this is translucent plastic painted red. This is actual red plastic. Once again, I can sort of look past it as I don't really notice in person. It's more noticeable on camera. The back, which are thankfully not formed from the robot's feet. Well, they are, but it's not visible. We'll see when I do a comparison with Earthrise Ironhide. Front, you can pretty much just see the details here. The top, where we've got these little ports here, which I guess would be for like the Ratchet retool, because maybe the siren would go here. Because as of the time of recording, there's no Ratchet retool announced yet. But who knows? The underneath, where you can pretty much just see the only kibble here is the legs, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, overall, I quite like this van mode. I think out of all the Ironhides I have so far, this one's my favorite because I just think this one looks the most accurate, even if it's missing the yellow stripe. Now for accessories, we get these two guns, which are the ones he was using before his execution in the film. And what these can do is these can plug on the top of the van mode, like so. And well, for blast effect compatibility, yep, they are, which is amazing. Or if you don't want him to be, well, if you don't want Ironhide to have guns showing, and you can actually plug these underneath and have them as exhaust pipes, which is actually sort of well, I can't remember the last figure that did this. I think it was like what, Generations Cup, like not Studio Series Cup, like the old Generations Cup that did that. But yeah, you can plug the guns into here and they pretty much just become exhaust pipes. So yeah. Well, that's pretty much all I have to say about the vehicle mode. So for comparison, here he is with Universe Ironhide, or in this case the Henkei version. You can tell because he actually does have the stripe here, which the Henkei version lacks. Here's Combiner Wars Ironhide. And Earthrise Ironhide. So you can see the main comparison here. I mean, for one, this guy's got his feet just sticking out here, whereas this guy, well, he doesn't. The color mismatching is more visible on this guy, because, well, I mean, we've got, like, red here, got, like, burgundy here, whereas this guy, it's not really that noticeable. So yeah, it's safe to say that the Studio Series version's got the better alternate mode in my opinion. Plus, this guy's not a store exclusive like this guy is, so yeah. Well, that's pretty much all I have to say about the vehicle mode. I mean, if anything, all it's missing is the yellow stripe, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't added just due to budget reasons. But hey, you could always just paint it on if you wanted to. But yeah, I quite like this vehicle mode, and out of all the Ironhides I have so far, I think this one's my favorite out of the vehicle modes. So, moving on to the transformation. So, to get this guy transformed, well, unlike the Earthrise version, there is no parts forming whatsoever. Because if you remember the Earthrise version, you had to remove the top of the van mode, and that became like a little shield. Well, with this guy, that's not the case. The entire van mode is incorporated into the robot mode, and I just think that's much better compared to the Earthrise version. So, to get this guy transformed, we're just going to try and untab this. And that can be easier said than done, because it's really tight on my copy. We're just going to untab these, flip these around, move these down, Untap that. Untap all that. Move all this down. Like so. Fold these up. So pushing the little back windshield here. And then push this in. And that forms the feet. Then push those bits in. Like so. Straighten out the legs. Split the legs. Like so. Trying to tilt the camera up. Trying to be careful so I don't break my Lego stand. Straighten out the hands. Move this down. Spin this around. This is rather similar to the Earthrise figure. Tab this in. Split the arms. Move them down. Try and tab them in. Move this down. Get the head out. Flip this around to the back. Flip these little bits in. Fold that in, and then just close this up. And here you have Ironhide in robot mode. And yeah, that's actually quite a complex transformation. And, well, it can be fun. It can also be quite fiddly, especially when going back into van mode, because it can be quite tricky to get things tabbed in. So yeah, that can be a complaint. It can be hard to get things tabbed in. For example, well, they're behaving on camera, but normally these don't want to tab in, so they can just flop about. Yeah, as you can see, they don't want to tab in. Well, looking at the robot mode, I mean, come on, it's Ironhide. What more can I say? I think this is one of the best looking Ironhides we've ever had. I mean, like, he's always been cheated when we've gotten new figures of him. And we'll see that over the comparisons. But of this, I think this is one of, if not the best Ironhide that we've gotten. And this is not me saying he's perfect, because he's not. There are still faults, but I think this is probably the best Ironhide that we've had so far. And that's just my opinion. You might not agree with me, but in my opinion, this is probably the best Ironhide that we've had so far. Even though you might not agree with me. The head sculpt, once again, looks like Ironhide. I could just hear him saying, "But Bram!" And this is before Megatron blows it off, because this is based on that one scene before, well, you know. Now, of course, we can give him his weapons. And as stated, if I can find them, they can take blast effects. Although, these seem to be the only things that can take blast effects in this figure. There's no other portion in this figure, not even on the feet, so we can't do laser feet. Oh well. Now, comparisons, here is the other Chug Ironhides I've got. here he is with Universe Ironhide, or in my case, Henkei Ironhide, where you can see, yeah, this is definitely an improvement over this dumpy thing. Even with a touch of chrome, it's still... I mean, just look at the backpack on the Henkei version. And this was their first attempt at Chug Ironhide, remember? Next up, here he is with Combiner Wars Ironhide, which is basically just Combiner Wars Off-Road in Ironhide colors. This guy was just made to be a Combiner limb and nothing else, if anything. Which is why he doesn't really look like Ironhide, aside from the head and the colors. And he fell over. Next up, here he is with Earthrise Ironhide, who comes close, but, well, with the shields and the legs and the feet sticking out in the vehicle mode, and the fact that he's hard to find. Yeah, I definitely prefer this version. And before you ask, no, I don't have Siege. I don't have the Siege version. It's basically the Earthrise version, except sort of retooled a little bit. But, well, if you've noticed something, this guy's a deluxe class. This guy is a Voyager class. You see? Voyager class. And yet, they're the same height. Well, this has made some people a bit iffy about this figure. Although, for me, I actually sort of don't mind. The reason? Well, keep in mind, back in Siege, leaders were sort of downsized, because size classes were more about the price point than the size. So this guy is more about the price point than his size. And, well, how about we just show off the articulation? Because I think that's a good way of showing off the budget for this guy. So for this guy's articulation, the head's on a ball joint, so he can look side to side. He can look up really far, and he can look down really far. His arms can, of course, move. He can T-pose. He can sort of a back butterfly joint if you want. He's got 90 degrees of elbows. He's got a bicep rotation. He's got wrist rotation. His wrists can do that if you want. He's got waist rotation. You can move up his flap here. That is sort of a complaint, but oh well. His legs can go forward. They can go back. You can do the splits. He's got knees. These can swivel. And why I think he's deserving of the Voyager price point. Let's get this out of the way. Of course, he's got pivot. And just look at how posable his feet are. I mean, they can go down, they can sort of go up. Granted, this is more due to the transformation, but still, you can get him into some really good poses just with the feet. I mean, do you know any other figure with really good foot posability like that? I don't think so. So, if he was marketed as a deluxe class, well, one, I think the transformation would be way more basic, but two, seriously, this guy would be way more basic. Plus, he wouldn't have that amazing foot posability, in my opinion. If anything, he'd probably just be a repackage of the Earthrise version if he was a deluxe class. Oops. So, That's why I don't mind this guy being a Voyager class. If it allows us a really good budget like that for like a good posability and a really good transformation, even if it does have some tabbing issues, it's kind of like Override, how like she's sort of deluxe size, although she's like got some really good like Override's got a really good transformation just due to the budget. It's sort of like that. So yeah. And if I just get the backdrop for Ironhide, so we can recreate the scene where he's about to be shot to death. Unfortunately, Ratchet, Brawn, and Prowl not included. Well, I do have Prowl, but I don't feel like getting him out. But well, that's pretty much all I have to say about this guy. Complaints? Well, of course, as I stated, these things don't really tab in that well. And of course, we're trying to get him back into his van mode. It can be sort of a pain to try and get the front bit tabbed in. And, well, likewise, it's a pain trying to get it untabbed as well, as you saw during the transformation. Another complaint is, this is all just one big piece, as you saw during the posability. I mean, of course you can sort of knock the pen and like cut it, but well, I don't really trust my cutting skills that well, so for me it's going to be remaining as one solid piece. I guess there's also the lack of the yellow stripe, but I'm going to be keeping this guy in robot mode anyway, so for me it's not really that big a deal. But well, those are pretty much all the complaints I can think of, so do I recommend this guy? Well, for me, I think this is my definitive Ironhide, so if you're trying to complete the 84 Autobots, then I say this is your best bet for Ironhide. If you're not going for Masterpiece, that is, because he's like, this guy's got a really accurate robot mode. He's just like, well, seriously, this is just a really good figure in my opinion. He's accurate. He's really posable, especially in the legs. And I just love the way this guy transforms, even if it can be a bit hard to get him tabbed in. Now, you might not like the fact that he's deluxe at the Voyager price point, but if they can get all that working at a... like, if it weren't for the Voyager budget, that would not be possible, so... seriously. So I think this is going to be my definitive Ironhide for right now. And if they do retool this guy into Ratchet, then of course I'm definitely going to get that as well. So yeah, I do recommend this figure, but if you're not a fan of this figure, then yeah, that's perfectly fine. That's your opinion, but for me, this is my definitive Ironhide for right now. There could be like a better Ironhide in like, what, 5 years time, but for now, this is my favorite and definitive Ironhide figure. Well, this has been my review on Studio Series 86 Ironhide, and this is Charlie Young, signing off.